You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Yesterday, the NFL announced massive TV contracts they signed with networks such as CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox, including Amazon Prime Video. But it is the contract they signed with Fox that has stirred the ire of the NAACP. Derrick Johnson, CEO of the NAACP, has blasted the NFL, saying they should not be funding the kind of contracts that will result in the kind of news that Fox News covers. Here's a statement that Derrick released. I want to read from this statement. For several decades, the Fox Corporation, and more specifically Fox News, has represented the worst traditions of American broadcasting. The media outlet has used its news division to sow bigotry and racism, create dissension, spread misinformation, and promote conspiracy theories that ultimately led to an insurrection against the U.S. Capitol. It is safe to say the views and opinions of Fox News are often squarely positioned against the progression of our democracy and not in the general public's best interest. But here's something that many do not know. Fox actively exploits its Fox Sports licensing deal with the NFL by extracting increasingly high cable subscriber fees to subsidize Fox News programming. This is the same network that has used its hosts and personalities to regularly attack the NFL and its players for promoting racial justice. However, this is just one aspect of its inaccurate, incendiary coverage of racial injustice. Network personalities routinely attack Black Lives Matter and downplay the existence of systemic racism and police brutality. A league where nearly 70% of the players are black and prides itself as America's favorite sports pastime should not be complicit in helping to increase the profits of Fox News. The NFL should immediately rethink its relationship with Fox. Given all that Fox has done to harm its players and the franchise, it's disturbing that this renewal is even on the table. Fox has further fomented racism, undermined the public health response to the pandemic, and attacked the election's legitimacy at a volatile time. The NAACP is requesting a formal meeting with the NFL leadership to discuss the unscrupulous tactics employed by Fox to underwrite hate speech and the un-American attacks on those that stand for racial equity and justice. The NAACP is ready to work in tandem with the NFL and hold Fox accountable. Rob, I'll start with you. You have a division of Fox, which is Fox Broadcasting. You've got Fox Sports. You've got Fox News. Then, of course, Rupert Murdoch also owns the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, and other outlets as well. Do you think that the NAACP is conflating things? Do you think that that they really don't have a case? Do you think that the argument that they're making is a just one in criticizing the NFL for signing a multi-billion-dollar rights deal with Fox Corporation?
Yeah, they certainly have a just cause. Now, whether they can do anything about it legally, I mean, that's another question, but they definitely have a just cause. And this should be a signal for progressives, those who believe in democracy. We have to start attacking this propaganda. It is not news. They have basically a television show with just made up characters. You don't know why people are evil. They're just evil. Well, you know why they're evil a lot of times because of their race or because of their politics, but they make it out to be these people to be evil, and then they dehumanize these people. And this is what leads to the type of hate and the type of attacks we see with what happened to our Asian brothers and sisters in Atlanta. It's what happened when you see the racial violence kick up all over last year. It's because the words you say matter. They create a climate, and they know what they're doing. You know, racism sells, fear sells, and they learn that if we can just trigger people's emotion, we can trigger their fear. We can make money this way. So it's not about news. It's not about news for the right wing, specifically for Fox. It's about how do we demonize anybody that makes us feel insecure, that might make some white people feel like they need to react, because that'll make people tune into the news, because news is boring. Look, news is, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to straight up news and people are reporting like, these are the facts, these are what happened, Rupert Murdoch discovered, look, that's not the way we want to make money. We can make money if we make everybody feel like they're being grieved all the time, like their country's being taken from them simply because a black man gets elected. Something's being taken away from you. No, it's not. It's America. It's being more inclusive. Nothing's being taken away. It's being more inclusive. But that's seen to some, and Fox News has been perpetuating this, that things are being taken away from me, and that has caused division. I think the NAACP is absolutely right. Not only are they right, we need more people to join them, and this needs to be taken more seriously because this propaganda is really affecting our democracy. It's really destroying it because that's how America goes down. It goes down by Americans. Americans implode, and we fight each other, and we just believe the other side is evil simply because they're black or they have different politics. This is what the right wing is doing, and they don't have any journalistic standards. They don't care. It's all about how do we just provoke emotion? How do we make controversy? And that's it. That's not news.
Michael?
I posted about this on my Facebook fan page, the African History Network, a couple of days ago, Roland, and I totally agree with Derrick Johnson, and I think they should go further than this. I think they should rally the corporations that donate to the NAACP on an annual basis, and leverage that power to also put pressure on Fox and on the Fox entity, because some of those same corporations advertise on the various Fox networks, the Fox cable network, Fox Broadcasting, et cetera. But, I read through the letter that President Johnson said, and he hit on a number of very, very important things. Number one, Fox News, the lies that they were pushing about the stolen election, this was an attempt to overturn the election results and overturn African-American people's votes, nullify our votes. But then the NFL re-signs a deal with Fox Sports, and 70% of the league is African-American. So it's like our bodies are generating money that's being used against us. Our bodies are working for an entity that's being used against African Americans as a whole. We look at Tucker Carlson in the segment you just did a couple of days ago, where Tucker Carlson is going after Kristen Clark, okay, whose nomination to the Department of Justice she's running into problems. Okay, with white male Republicans or Republicans that want to act like they're white, like Rafael Ted Cruz. Okay, we're dealing with these types of culture wars that Fox is fueling. And at the same time, you look at the people like Sean Hannity, who and others on Fox News that were fueling lies about coronavirus and giving a platform to the traitor-in-chief, Benedict Donald, to go on Fox News and lie about coronavirus, which also puts lives of African Americans in jeopardy. So I'm totally for this, and we have to leverage our economics to enforce our politics, man. And as far as I'm concerned, we need to do everything we can to take Fox News out. As far as I'm concerned, we need to look at what Color Change did and how they got Bill O'Reilly off the air. They put pressure on 80 advertisers. Color Change and other organizations put pressure on 80 advertisers. Raw economic support from Bill O'Reilly's show where it wasn't profitable anymore, and Fox News canceled their show. We need to do the same thing with that entire Fox cable network.
Candace.
On the one hand, you've got Fox denigrating African-American players for taking a knee, taking away their First Amendment rights. And on the other hand, you have basically they're being exploited because they're giving money back to Fox. The same people who are just burning the moral fabric of America. And like Michael said, it's also a health concern in terms of what they are spreading in terms of the coronavirus and what should and should not be done. The FCC should get involved here because you know what? When you have a station, you have a license, and that license has to follow FCC guidelines. And those FCC guidelines, if they are broken in any way, shape, or form, you don't get renewed. In addition, we need to look at the contract that they've made. What's the basis for this contract? And are there some racist implications in it? So there are a lot of different ways to attack it, but I'm loving what Michael said in terms of put some pressure on them otherwise. You know, there is power in the people when people take the streets and say, we don't want to see this happen. So this is just the beginning. we're going to see more. But I would expect that the FCC would also have some place in this. And if Derrick Johnson has his wits about him, which I know he does, I'm sure that he'll be going that route.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.